IVC, Dale Gatefold 33 here. Can't believe I'm making this video. This is a response to James Griffiths' Show Your Firsts. I saw it and thought, no, I just can't. I can't even enter into that. My memory is shocking, and I think this will prove. So my attempt is going to be shocking, I'll try to answer most of the questions, but as I said, I can't remember what I did last week, let alone what I did 30-40 years ago. So but here goes. So I'm going to try and do, say, nearly all the questions. I think I'll miss out on a couple, because of my kind of musical evolution, this is going to be a little bit boring because it's going to be quite samey in terms, certainly in terms of artists. So first record you got by your favourite band or artist. So I think it's this, on cassette. So it's Pink Floyd Relics. I think I got this on cassette. It was the first sort of record that I actually bought by Pink Floyd. I've got the cassette somewhere, but I can't find it. So I'll have to deal with the record. I'm going to try and do this quickly, so I'm not taking these out of the covers. So apologies to Vina Ritchie if he watches this. First debut album you ever owned. So again, I say this is going to be quite samey, which will become apparent maybe with some of the later questions. It's David Gilmour's debut solo album. It's got my name written on there. What a tosser doing that, but back in the day. First live album, I don't know. I thought it was Leonard Skinner's Road Noise, but I look back and I think that was really early 80s, so I must have had something before that. I also remember distinctly as a kid, as a teenager, listening to LBC on a Sunday night, and Judy Zook was on once, talking about Road Noise, which came out, which I subsequently bought, but I don't have any more. And that came out in 82, so I was 16 then, so I feel there must have been something before then, but I can't really remember. First greatest hits album, again, it would have been on cassette, 24 Karat Purple, Deep Purple. In fact, this was the first record I think I ever bought, proper record, if you like, I ever bought myself, was 24 Karat Purple on cassette. Your first... Oh, hang on a minute. Oh, that was Greatest Hits, wasn't it? Yeah. Your first double album. So I'm claiming this, even though it would have been my parents' copy. Goodbye Yellow Brick Road would have been the first kind of double album that I would have experienced, and was kind of borrowed off my parents. So the first legendary or classic album you ever owned was the same as James Guthrie. So this is the album that got me into proper music. Pink Floyd's The Wall got me into more than kids music when I was 13 years old, and when it came out, and therefore a lot of my kind of discoveries in this are going to be Pink Floyd themed, because I was then trying to seek stuff out, and this will reappear probably. First record you ever received as a gift, I can't really remember. As a kid I was really into cars, and so most of my gifts would have been car related, up until obviously a point where you don't play with cars past the age of 21. So I can remember distinctly getting this on cassette, and then came rock and roll. But again, I've looked back, this came out in 82, so I'd have been 16, so I'm sure I must have had some music as a gift before then, but I'm coming up with that. Where are we? The first record you ever got which disappointed you. I think I couldn't think of one on that. The first you ever owned by an artist you would later go on to collect seriously. So I do remember as a kid buying this. This was almost, could have gone in my blind buy. I think people were talking about Led Zeppelin. I felt like I might have heard some Led Zeppelin on the radio, and I must have gone into town shopping with my pocket money or paper round money, and this was the only Led Zeppelin record I could find, so I bought it and brought it home. But and it's actually probably one of my favourite, if not my favourite, Led Zeppelin album now. But great album. The record that introduced you to a specific genre. So this is probably everyone's, I don't know. For years, obviously, I was a CD collector. I only started collecting vinyl in 2012. Having, you know, a very small vinyl collection in the loft, and I'd kind of done the kind of purge. Bought the CD Kool-Aid. Only bought CDs from the kind of late 80s onwards, and this was in my collection because it was in all greatest albums lists. So I kind of picked it up on CD at a shop one day, and never really listened. I think, you know, listened to it and thought, what's all that? And it's kind of sat there, and then it's only kind of really since watching the VC that I've revisited this, and I've now got, you know, maybe 150 jazz records, and jazz is kind of a genre that I really seek out, but this was the first, mainly because, as I said, it was on all greatest albums lists, so you kind of like felt obliged to have a copy of it. First record you home taped. A lot of my Pink Floyd records were home taped for me by the older brother of someone I sat next to in a biology class at school. So Tim Waxman, thank you very much, and Tim Waxman's brother, thank you very much. So I kind of got into Pink Floyd through The Wall, and then, as I said, I was lucky enough to virtually get the entire back catalogue taped for me by Tim Waxman's brother, and that kind of so I'll class that as answering that question. The first record you bought on someone else's recommendation. So as well as only listening to Pink Floyd, some of my friends were into heavier stuff, and 1980, so when I was 14, this Back in Black, AC/DC Back in Black, was, I guess I heard it and was recommended, and you have to get this, this is fantastic, so I ended up buying that. The first record your parents disapproved of. I don't recall them disapproving of anything. I think now they would disapprove of everything. The first record that caused you to lose your mind. So this is back to the home taping, and Tim Waxman's brother, and he did a number of C90s. So it's C90s it must have been. So I had an album on each side, and I had one that had Piper at the Gates of Dawn and Sorcerer of Secrets on the A and the B side, as a 13-14 year old, listening to it on my cassette deck, on my headphones. That blew my mind, I would say. But I guess the first one that truly blew my mind was the one that started it all, this, and this came about purely because my uncle was staying with us. I can't remember the exact reason. My uncle was staying with us. I can't remember if it was marital or work related, and he kind of said, again, there was a time when I was kind of into kids' music and nothing really, and he kind of had it on. He had it on cassette, and he just got just come out, and he said, have a listen, and I listened to it on headphones on my dad's tape deck, and it blew my mind, but and got me into music. Where are we? So I've kind of contradicted myself there. The first record you saw in someone else's collection. What's that? Have I done that? A15? No, I think that probably is The Wall. The Wall is the answer to everything in this. The first record you had difficulty tracking down, so I'll show this. I haven't shown it for a while. So Nancy Pretty, You've Come This Way Before, is a fantastic album that was shown on the VC by a couple of VC members, Werner Ritchie definitely, and I think Bo as well, and I ended up buying this copy from Canada on Discogs, having kind of waited for it to come up on any kind of UK listings or seen it in any shops. I'd asked in record shops I'd asked in record fairs. I didn't want to buy it from abroad, but I just couldn't get a copy in the UK for quite a while, a good couple of years. So I ended up buying this copy from Canada, and it ended up costing me a fortune because I paid a reasonable price for it. But then, kind of, although I'm an experienced buyer, obviously I had the shipping from Canada and then the customs duty on top. It ended up costing a lot of money, but worth it. And I've now got 3 copies of it for some. Boom, boom. First record you bought a second copy of, it will be Pink Floyd, a Pink Floyd related. I would have had multiple copies of, so it's probably Dark Side of the Moon. So I haven't bothered showing that. You know what Dark Side of the Moon looks like. Blind Buy. So I do kind of remember this. So not this. This isn't it. Again, it was a cassette. So I do remember going into town, going to Woolworths with my pocket money, stroke paper round money, and I was determined to buy some new music. And there was really very little, and so I had this and something else. I can't remember what the something else was in my hand, and I plumped for this because I had kind of heard of the Moody Blues, yeah. So it was a blind buy. I've subsequently asked, I like the Moody Blues, and I've got all of their studio albums. I haven't. So that was that. First record you bought after becoming involved in the VC. That's again a difficult one to answer, although I do catalogue my records about when I got them. So so the one I can probably think of, so I've looked back through the kind of chronologically what I've bought since I've joined the VC. I joined the VC in 2012. I started watching videos after I bought a turntable as a Christmas present to myself in Christmas 2011. And then started to explore and found the VC in about February 2012, and I've been watching ever since, but only started making videos a couple of months ago. So around then, obviously I know I would have been watching Fred Big Star 1000, and I'm sure I remember him showing this, and I kind of thought, well, I didn't really like UB40, as in the pop UB40 that they became. So I checked this out and ended up buying this as my only UB40 album on that kind of recommendation. First record you bought by mail order. So again, around 2012. Obviously, I wanted to create a record collection. I have created a very large record collection in only 8 years. So I've gone from about 20 records to 2,000 or 3,000 records in 8 years, effectively. But mostly from car boot sales, luckily. First record I bought by mail order, I wanted to kind of get some staples in, and some staples for me started with records I remembered from my parents. So my parents had a very small record collection, and within that record collection there weren't many that were acceptable to me as a youngster or a teenager, but one of those was this album, There Goes Rhymin' Simon by Paul Simon. So I do remember buying this, and I can't remember, so this would have been pre me knowing about Discogs and pre me buying on eBay. So I bought it from some bodied listed records in the back of Record Collector or something like that, or had a online go to your online list, and they sent you a spreadsheet, and I chose from a spreadsheet a record. That's how I ended up getting this. But this was certainly one of the first, if not the first, that I bought online in getting back into music. Obviously I bought lots of CDs online in the CD age, but I'm not going to count that. So that's me. So thanks, James. I've ended up doing what I said I wouldn't do. So good luck with the thread. Cheers. Bye.